Hello all. Today we will be discussing another question paper. It's for the year 2017. Question paper is given here on the screen. Section 1, Section 2. In this we will be discussing Section 1. The long question that will be there: gingiva in health and disease, short note, oral malodor, interdental cleaning aid, difference between acute necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis and herpetic gingivostomatitis, treatment of periodontal pocket and hypercementosis, and followed by the short notes. Coming on to the gingiva in health and disease. This is bit tricky question because it's very lengthy question. First of all, gingiva in health is a very lengthy answer to write, and when it come to the writing part, most of the students they write in detail gingiva in health and they leave the gingiva in disease part. So let us see how we can make this answer more presentable. Now first of all we will be writing content just because it's a long question. So first of all the point that we will be discussing, it will be included in the content. First, introduction, followed by definition, microscopic features, diagram, functional division, blood and nerve supply, oxygen consumption, effect of aging on gingiva, clinical feature, and then gingiva in disease. Coming on to the introduction. In the introduction we should always keep the introduction simple so that it is easy for us to remember. So in the introduction we will be writing zone of oral mucosa. Oral mucosa consists of three zones: the gingiva, the dorsum of the tongue, and oral mucous membrane. The gingiva and the covering of the hard palate termed as masticatory mucosa, the dorsum of the tongue covered by specialized mucosa, oral mucous membrane lining the remainder of oral cavity. Definition of gingiva. Gingiva is the part of oral mucosa that covers the alveolar process of the jaw and surrounds the neck of teeth. Now, macroscopic division of gingiva. The gingiva is divided anatomically into marginal gingiva. First of all, there is marginal gingiva, and then attached gingiva, that is firmly attached onto the surface of tooth and bone, and then interdental gingiva. So the anatomic part is marginal and gingival sulcus, attached gingiva, and interdental gingiva. Functional division of gingiva. The part facing the oral cavity, which is masticatory mucosa, and part facing the tooth, which is involved in attaching the gingiva to the tooth and also forms the part of periodontium. Now coming on to the microanatomy of the gingiva. Gingiva consists of two parts: epithelium, that is stratified squamous epithelium, and the connective tissue part. Coming on to the epithelium of gingiva. Epithelium covering the gingiva may be differentiated by the following. Is differentiated in the following way. First is oral epithelium, which faces the oral cavity. So this is oral epithelium, and then oral sulcular epithelium, oral sulcular epithelium, and then the junctional epithelium. So epithelium is divided into three parts: oral epithelium, sulcular epithelium, and the junctional epithelium. Then coming on to the electron microscopy of the gingival epithelium. It is divided into four strata: stratum basale or stratum germinatum, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, and stratum corneum. So you can, if you are good in drawing, you can draw the diagram. Then cells of gingival epithelium. Cells of gingival epithelium are keratinocyte, that we have already discussed, stratum basale, all the layers. Then clear cell or non-keratinocytes, which include Langerhans cell, Merkel cell, melanocytes, and inflammatory cells. Coming on to the connective tissue. So see, we have keep the answer very precise because we have to write both the gingiva in health as well as the disease part. We have to cover both the parts. So we have to keep the answer precise and covering all the points. Now coming on to the connective tissue. Connective tissue of gingiva is known as lamina propria, and it is divided into papillary layer and reticular layer. The papillary layer is adjacent to the epithelium, and it consists of papillary projection between the epithelium, ret apex, and the reticular layer. It is continuous with the periosteum of the alveolar bone. Coming on to the blood supply, lymphatic and nerve supply of the gingiva. Blood supply, supraperiosteal arteriole, vessels of periodontal ligament, and arteriole emerging from the crest of interdental septa. Nerve supply, branches of trigeminal nerve. And then coming on to the oxygen consumption of gingiva. The oxygen consumption is measured by Warhol manometry technique, and in normal it is 1.60, and in inflamed it is 1.8 to 2.16, and in slight inflammation 1.77, and in moderate 2.69, and in severe 3.19 to 4.50. Clinical feature of gingiva. In healthy condition, the color of gingiva is coral pink, size 0 to 2 mm for marginal gingiva, 0 to 9 mm for attached gingiva, but it varies in different sites. Contour, scalloped, shape governed by the contour of proximal tooth surface, consistency firm and resilient, texture is stippled, absent over the marginal gingiva. Effect of aging on gingiva. On gingival epithelium, thinning and decreased keratinization, flattening of retipic and altered cell density. Width of attached gingiva increase. Gingival connective tissue. Effect of aging on gingival connective tissue will be coarse and more dense gingival connective tissue. Changes in the collagen will be there. Increased rate of conversion of soluble to insoluble collagen. Increased mechanical strength and increased denaturing temperature of the protein, that is collagen. Gingiva and disease. Now, classification of gingival disease and changes in gingiva in various disease state. First of all, classification of gingiva according to international workshop that was held in 1999. Dental plaque induced gingival disease, non-plaque induced gingival disease. In dental plaque induced gingival disease, first of all, gingivitis associated with dental plaque only. Second, we will be writing gingival disease modified by systemic factor, gingival disease modified by medications, gingival disease modified by malnutrition. Coming on to the non-plaque induced gingival disease of specific bacterial origin, gingival disease of viral origin, gingival disease of fungal origin, gingival disease of genetic origin, and gingival manifestation of systemic conditions, traumatic lesion, foreign body reaction, and not otherwise specified. Now, coming on to the dental plaque induced gingival disease, gingivitis associated with plaque only. It is further divided into A and B without local contributing factor, second is with local contributing factor. Gingival disease modified by systemic disease, in that there will be A and B part. In A, it is associated with endocrine system, puberty associated gingivitis, menstrual cycle associated gingivitis, pregnancy associated. In this, gingivitis and pyogenic granuloma will be there. Diabetic mellitus associated gingivitis associated with blood displaces, example leukemia associated gingivitis and other. Now, next is gingival disease modified by medication. In this, there will be drug induced gingival disease like drug induced gingival enlargement, drug induced gingivitis as seen in OCs, associated gingivitis and others. Next, gingival disease modified by malnutrition, ascorbic acid deficiency gingivitis and other. Non-plaque induced gingival lesion, gingival disease of specific bacterial origin, A. Neisseria gonorrhea, Treponema pallidum and Streptococcus species and other. Gingival disease of viral origin. It is divided into further A and B. In A, it is herpes virus infection, in which primary herpetic gingivostomatitis will be there, recurrent oral herpes and varicella zoster is there, and other. Gingival disease of fungal origin, Candida species infection, generalized gingival candidiosis, linear gingival erythema, histoplasmosis and other. Gingival disease of genetic origin, hereditary gingival fibromatosis and other. Gingival manifestation of systemic condition: mucocutaneous lesion like lichen planus, pemphigoid, pemphigus vulgaris, arrhythmia multiforme, lupus erythematous, drug-induced, and other. In allergic, dental restorative material like mercury, nickel, acrylic, and other. Reaction attributable to: first, toothpaste or dentifrices, mouth rinse or mouthwashes, chewing gum, additives, and food and additives, and other. Now coming on to the traumatic lesion, they are further subdivided into chemical injury, physical injury, thermal injury, and then foreign body reaction and other conditions that are not otherwise specified. And then we will be discussing changes in clinical feature in various gingival disease. I have already discussed the features that will be there in healthy part. Now first is color. In healthy, coral pink was there, but in disease like gingivitis and periodontitis, red or bluish red will be there. In necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis, marginal gingiva, diffuse red or grayish discoloration. It is because of the necrosis that is there. Metallic pigmentation due to heavy metals, black or bluish line will be there. Changes in consistency: normal, it is firm and resilient, but in gingivitis it is soggy, puffiness that pits on pressure, and marked softness will be there. Now, gingival enlargement: firm and leathery consistency. If calcified muscles in gingiva, for example root, remnant, cementum, fragment, etc. might be there. In necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis, puffiness, softening, slogging, and vesicle formation will be there. These are all the changes in the consistency that will be seen in the disease state. Now coming on to the changes in surface texture of gingiva. In healthy, it is stipple. In disease, if inflammatory chronic periodontitis, surface is smooth, shiny, may be firm or nodular. In desquamative gingivitis, atrophic gingiva, ulceration, vesiculation, peeling of surface. Drug-induced gingival enlargement, leathery texture and nodular appearance. Changes in position of gingiva: gingival recession, exposure of root surface by apical shift in the position of gingiva. Coming on to the changes in gingival contour. In chronic gingivitis, marginal gingiva is rolled out, interdental papillae blunt and flat. In necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis, gingival contour will be crater-like. And in gingival recession, the gingiva will be receded. Next is Stillman cleft, which is apostrophe shape indentation of the gingiva, and in McAuliffe stone, rolled thickened band of the gingiva will be seen. So this is the end of our first long question, gingiva in health as well as the disease part. Now coming on to the short note: oral malodor, interdental cleaning aid, difference between necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis and herpetic gingivostomatitis, treatment of periodontal pocket, and hypercementosis. Oral malodor I have already discussed. Coming on to the interdental cleaning aid. Definition: interdental gingiva occupy the gingival embrasure. It is pyramidal or caul shaped. Pyramidal, tip of papillae is located immediately beneath the contact point. Caul is a valley-like depression connecting facial and lingual papillae. Anatomy of interdental area: in posterior, two papillae, facial and lingual, that is connected by caul. In anterior teeth, single pyramidal papillae will be seen. Epithelium of caul is thin and non-keratinized. Why interdental aids are required? Caul is thin, it is non-keratinized, and it is vulnerable to breakdown. Second point is interdental area collect plaque that is difficult to clean by toothbrushing alone. The type of gingival embrasures as given in the Carranza. There are different classification of embrasures, but I have taken the one that is given in the Carranza. Three type of gingival embrasures are there. Type 1, type 2, type 3. In type 1, interdental papillae fill up the embrasure, and then we can use dental floss in this area. In moderate papillar recession, interdental brushes and wooden tip are recommended. Complete loss of papillae and interdental gingiva, then unit of brush are used. You can draw the diagram of the classification: type 1, type 2, type 3, and the various interdental cleaning aid that is used in type 1, type 2 and type 3. Indication of interdental aid. It is used in everyday use: implant, orthodontic braces, restorative margin and prosthesis. Various interdental aids are dental floss and tape, interdental tip, interdental brushes, wooden tip, toothpick, knitting yarn and gauge strip. Factor in selection of interdental aid: the type of gingival embrasure, alignment of teeth, fixed prosthesis, orthodontic appliance, open furcation area and contact area. Advantage: interdental aid along with the brush can remove 95% of the dental plaque. Difference between necrotizing ulcerative and herpetic gingivostomatitis. First is etiology. Necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis, it is caused by the interaction of host and bacteria. Most commonly is Fusospirochetes. But that of herpetic gingivostomatitis, it's of viral origin. Necrotizing ulcerative gingivitis is a necrotizing condition in which punch out gingival margin will be seen, pseudomembrane that peel off and leaving the raw bleeding area behind. Marginal gingiva is affected and other oral tissue rarely affected. It is uncommon in children. No definite duration will be there. No demonstrated immunity and contagious. The disease is contagious, it's still not demonstrated. But in primary herpetic gingivostomatitis, as I have already told you, it's of viral origin, diffuse arrhythmia, vesicular eruption, vesicle rupture, leaving slight depressed oval or spherical ulcers. Diffuse involvement of gingiva may include buccal mucosa and lip. Often occur more frequently in children. Duration is from 7 to 10 days. An acute episode resulting in some degree of immunity, and the disease is highly contagious. Coming on to the treatment of periodontal pocket. First of all, we will be writing the definition of pocket. Periodontal pocket is pathological deepening of gingival sulcus. Then you can quickly draw the classification of periodontal pocket in the manner that I have drawn. It is very easy. Classification on the basis of connective tissue loss: true, false, suprabony, infrabony, and then surface involved, simple, compound, complex, and on the basis of healing, edematous and fibrotic. Coming on to the management of periodontal pocket. Management will be non-surgical and surgical. In non-surgical, phase 1 therapy, local drug delivery and systemic antimicrobial. And in surgical, pocket depth reduction through gingival curettage, next gingivectomy or periodontal flap, various osseous surgery and periodontal regenerative procedures. Now coming on to the non-surgical procedure, in this scaling and root planning will be done. Next is curettage, local drug delivery, mouth rinse will be recommended like chlorhexidine, systemic drug therapy, tetracycline, metronidazole, doxycycline and minocycline. And surgical therapy for accessibility and visibility and elimination of the pocket. The surgical therapy will depend whether the pocket is true or false pocket. In true pocket, treatment will be for scaling and root planning, re-evaluation and maintenance. If pocket is still there, then we'll go for gingivectomy or gingivoplasty. If true pocket is there, the same. First of all, scaling and root planning, then re-evaluation and maintenance, followed by resective osseous surgery and regenerative osseous surgery. So first of all, we will be discussing treatment of false pocket, that is gingival pocket. So what will be there in the false pocket? The pocket is formed by the growth of gingival tissues and the underlying connective tissue loss is not there. It is still intact. So what we can do? We can get rid of the gingiva. So this is known as gingivectomy. It is the removal of gingival part. So step by step, pocket are explored with periodontal probe and depth is marked. Periodontal knife are used to give incision in the coronal direction starting from just apical to the marked point. Incision should be beveled at 45 degree to the tooth surface. Removal of excised tissue, granulation tissue and calculus is done, and the area is covered with the surgical pack. So this is the false pocket. First of all, the breeding point will be marked and then the incision will be given. This is the external bevel gingivectomy and the gingiva is removed, followed by thorough scaling and the root planning. Coming on to the treatment of true pocket. The pocket is for the suprabony and infrabony. In suprabony, the base of the pocket is lying above the level of the bone. In infrabony, the base of the pocket is lying coronal to the, it is lying apical to the alveolar bone. Now, suprabony. If the pocket is suprabony, what will be the treatment? If the pocket is suprabony and it is in anterior teeth, scaling and root planning is done, followed by the maintenance. If pocket is still there, then curettage will be done, and in moderate to severe pocket, flap surgery will be done, and mostly the flap surgery that will be done will be papilla preservation flap, because it is the aesthetic area. And if the teeth are posterior, then scaling and root planning followed by maintenance, and persistent pocket with inadequate access, then flap surgery will be done. Now, infrabony pocket, scaling and root planning followed by local drug delivery, and if flap procedure is required, then modified Wiedmann flap will be advised in deep infrabony defect, that is in aesthetic area, and apically displaced flap if complete removal of local irritant is not clinically possible. Then osseous surgery. Osseous surgery on the basis of number of bony wall that is there. If one wall defect is there, then resective osseous surgery will be done. If three wall defect will be then if three wall defect is there, then new attachment procedure will be done. New attachment procedure, following technique will be there: non-graft associated new attachment, graft associated new attachment, and then combination of both. Extraction of teeth with mobility and hopeless teeth. That's all. Coming on to the next question, hypercementosis. Hypercementosis is characterized by the deposition of excess amount of cementum on the root surface. Type is localized and generalized. Localized, only one tooth is involved. Etiology usually reactive, inflammatory, depending upon the inflammation that is there, and the loss of, it is seen in loss of occluding antagonist teeth. Generalized, more teeth will be affected. It is seen normally with the age and in Paget disease. Etiology, loss of antagonist teeth, inflammation of root, trauma, repair, osteitis deformans of Paget disease of bone, and hyperpituitarism. Clinical feature, predominantly seen in adult. Permanent teeth are affected more commonly than deciduous. Fusion of root will be there. Root are larger in diameter and present rounded apices. Radiographic feature, thickening of apex. Apex appear bulbous in some cases, irregular deposition of cementum, and no need of any treatment. Answer, coming on to the answer in short. ADA specification of toothbrushes. ADA specification is length should be 1 to 1.25 inches. Surface area is 2.54 to 3.2 centimeter. Number of shaft 5 to 12 per row, width 5 by 16 to 3 by 8 inches. Number of rows 2 to 4 row of brushes. 2 to 4 row of bristles. It should not, this is a mistake. This should not be brushes. They should be bristles. Number of bristles should be 80 to 85 per tuft. Enumerate two malignant lesions of gingiva: squamous cell carcinoma and malignant melanoma. What are special characteristics of spirochete? They are obligate intracellular parasite. All spirochete have similar morphological appearance. You can write any characteristic of spirochete. What is calculocementum? Calculocementum is calculus embedded deeply in the cementum that may appear morphologically similar to cementum. That is why it is named as calculocementum. Three local causes of widening of periodontal ligament space. First is trauma from occlusion, periodontal ligament abscess, and periapical abscess. Periochip. Periochip, the controlled subgingival delivery of chlorhexidine. 0.5 mg of chlorhexidine gluconate, which is incorporated in a biodegradable matrix in each film. Local delivery of chlorhexidine in target site with probing depth of 5 to 8 mm. Drug is released for maximum of 7 days. Thank you.